How do we begin devotion? If we can realize what God does for us, our love for God will also develop. Our soul, that is we, are eternal, not by our own prowess, but because the eternal God is sitting inside the soul and granting it eternality. This is a kirtan which Kripaluji Maharaj called Bhakti Bhavana. He wrote it as the title. Bhakti Bhavana means what should be the sentiment of a devotee towards the Divine Beloved. Tum mere the mere ho, mere rahoge, behkun ab behkane se.
Tum mere the mere ho, mere rahoge, behkun ab behkane se.
तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो, मेरे रहोगे, बहकुन अब बहकाने से.
तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो, मेरे रहोगे, behkun ab behkane se.
जब समझ प्रेम में डूब गई, तब क्या होगा समझाने से.
जब समझ प्रेम में डूब गई, तब क्या होगा समझाने से.
जब समझ प्रेम में डूब गई, तब क्या होगा समझाने से.
जब समझ प्रेम में डूब गई, तब क्या होगा समझाने से.
तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो, मेरे रहोगे, behkun ab behkane se.
तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो, मेरे रहोगे, behkun ab behkane se.
How do we begin devotion? It begins with sambandha gyan, realization of our relationship with God. There was once a person going on a highway who met with an accident. His car rolled over to the side and he was thrown out of the car, badly wounded. One villager saw him in that pitiable condition. The villager put him in his bullock cart and brought him to the hospital, which was about 7 miles from that accident spot. The doctor saw and decided that an immediate operation was needed. Blood was required for that operation. That villager said, "Check my blood." The blood group matched. He gave his blood. He found out from that person's diary, which he got from his pocket, his relatives' numbers, and he called this person's family members there. Some medicines were required. He purchased medicines from the nearby store and supplied them. This person was operated upon, and after a few hours he came back to consciousness. He found in his room his wife. He was delighted. So nice to see you. He found his son. He was delighted. His parents. And then he looked at this villager with his shabby, torn clothes, and he curled his nose. Who is this? The family member said, do you know, he is the person who has saved your life. He saw you lying in the ditch when you were totally helpless. He put you in his cart and brought you 7 miles to this hospital. Really, I'm indebted to you. Do you know that he gave his blood to enable your operation to be done when it was critical? Oh, I can never repay my debt to you. Do you know that he also went and purchased medicines for you? Really, you are like my brother. Do you know he is the one who informed us, and that is why we are here? Well, from today, we are deeply bound together. When he came to know this person did so much for him, the love developed. Similarly, if we can realize what God does for us, our love for God will also develop. This earth that we sit upon, that has been endowed with the ability to produce plants and vegetables by the millions, we take it for granted. But it's not for granted. How did those particular physical and chemical properties come into the soil? It was arranged by God. So we are grateful to Him for all that we eat and the air that we breathe. A little change in the chemical composition. It happens close to some plants. Too much of sulfur, people become poisoned. So what if this chemical composition of the air was not what it is? We would not have been alive. The interesting thing is, those items that are absolutely vital are most abundantly available. We can't live without the air for 5 minutes and it's all over us. And then we have the ocean nearby Galveston. And we have all wondered since childhood while growing up, why is the ocean salty? I have also been wondering why was it salty, like all children growing up. Until finally it hit me. If it was not salty, it would have bred so much of disease and infection. It would have been exceedingly unhygienic for the entire world. But by making it salty, God ensured that it retains its hygienic conditions and antiseptic properties. So all this, the sunlight that we receive, we take for granted. But we should be thanking God for it. After all, it's not produced by itself. There is an incessant nuclear reaction going on there. And the magnitude of that nuclear reaction, people make their estimates. One estimate I read was that it's equal to 1 million nuclear power plants. And there are no Chernobyl kind of disasters that take place. The sunlight reaches us at the perfect temperature. And we go out in the sun and bask in the sunlight. What are you doing? Swamiji, I am savoring vitamin D. My skin is creating vitamin D from the sunlight that is coming. So all these are gifts of God. Kripaluji Maharaj says there are so many gifts that if somebody started writing them, a whole book would be filled up. After all, we exist because of Him. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. This is a mantra from the Shvetashvatar Upanishad. It also exists in the Munduk Upanishad and also in the Kathopanishad. It says our soul, that is we, are eternal. Not by our own prowess, but because the eternal God is sitting inside the soul and granting it eternality. And we are sentient. We possess the quality of life. Not by our own powers or energies, but because the supremely sentient God is seated inside our soul. Here, Atmani Tishtati. And from inside, He is granting us the life force that we call consciousness, sentience. And that is why we are us. If God left us for even a moment, our personality would cease to exist. So we exist because of Him in innumerable ways. We are indebted to Him. The more we realize the graces we have received, the more we will grow in devotion. Oh, He has done so much for me. Moment we appreciate the extent of our bond with Him, that love naturally develops. There is an example that Maharajji is fond of giving from the Indian culture. You know, Indian culture is of arranged marriages. So, two girls are sitting in the park and one boy is sitting on the opposite bench and staring at them, and sometimes making some lewd gestures. One girl gets annoyed. Who is this loafer? How dare he? She lifted up her slipper. Her Saheli friend said, "What are you doing? Don't you know? He is the boy to whom your parents have got you engaged." Really? The chappal goes down and love fills up in the eyes. How does he look? Oh, he's quite handsome. She has accepted He is mine. And that love has immediately manifested. With God, there is no need of any engagement ceremony or exchange of rings. Because our connection with Him is since eternity. So what is our relationship with Him? Now, in gross terms, we are used to saying, He is our Father. We are His children. In all religious traditions, they say like this: we are the children of God, our Father who art in heaven. And the Vedas say, Amritasya vai putra. The Supreme Lord Himself in the Vedas is declaring that all the souls that exist are my little children. So, this is one level of understanding of our relationship with God, that we are His little children. However, for those who wish to go even more deeply, there is a finer nuance to this knowledge. Because the fact that we are the children of God does not answer many questions. For example, if we are His children, we should be like Him. From an elephant, a baby elephant is born. From a giraffe, a baby giraffe is born. You don't have deers being born from dogs and cats being born from horses. So if we are God's children, why are we not like Him? He is full of knowledge, bliss, and love. And we, His little children, are suffering in this world in ignorance, getting knocked around by the waves of Maya, repeatedly experiencing the cycle of life and death. So how come we are the children of God?